Alright, I'm making a pair of fox ears. Super simple. What I did was I made a paper pattern. This part right here where it is traced off, that's the part you fold over to make it look like a natural ear. What I did was I traced it onto this stuff right here. This stuff's called foamies. You can get this at your local Joann's. It's like 99 cents a sheet, give or take a few cents. And I turned it into this. After I took this, I traced it again so the paper pad wouldn't get ruined, and flipped it over, made another one, so that way I have a right and a left ear. This stuff is your cartilage for your ears. Comes in handy. Once I got the patterns and cartilage cut out, I needed to make a fox tip of the ear. You know, the black part of the ear on the back of the fox's ear? Yeah, that stuff. So what I did was I traced the top of the fox ear, a good enough amount around the top so that way I didn't cut it short. And then I took the fox ear, traced it, took my ruler, traced across that line, and cut it out, and that gave me my tip of the ear. Super simple. Alright, now I'm going to show you how to actually use your pattern. Here's some lovely rust fox fur from CR's. Make sure the fur runs towards the tip of the ear. That's a common mistake that people tend to make the fur go the other way. This is not cool. It's not how it happens in nature. Alright, so this is how it happens. You take your pattern, you're going to put it on your fur. Take your trusty marker of choice so long as it says dark enough and you can see it. Trace around your pattern. Super simple. Make sure it's dark enough so that you don't mess up. Okay, since this is going to be the back of the fox ear, you're going to want to cut a little farther around the edge. You're not going to want to cut right on it, because if you cut right on it, it's going to mess your ear up. I'll show you once I cut this out what I mean. Alright, you're going to want to cut outside of the line you just made. That's always important to cut outside. Except for the bottom piece down here, you can cut right on the black line, because that's just the bottom and you don't need to worry about that. Alrighty. Yeah, I know, I cut very slow, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Alrighty. Cutting outside the line. Alright, you have that cut out. Now, I cut it out all the way, but you don't have to when it comes to this part. See, I have it labeled. This is the inner ear part, because remember, this is the part you're going to flip over, and that's going to show the white of the fur, the inner ear. So I made an arrow to make sure I knew this was the inner ear flip. You can trace this part out before or after you cut, whatever you want. And then cut the tip off. Also, make sure you cut just a little above the black line. Because remember, you need your seam allowance. Say that was your tip. You can discard that, you don't need it. As I said, you can do that before or after. Well, pile of fur. And now you need your black fur tip, because foxes have black tips on their ears. Make sure the fur runs towards the tip as well. I'm going to keep that tradition. See, running towards the tip. Make sure that's what we needed. Yep, flips towards the inner ear. Now, since you can't use a black marker on black fur, it just doesn't work that way. I use this stuff right here, chalk, your everyday handy dandy school chalk. Trace that out. Make sure you get it nice and dark. That way you don't mess up when you cut it out. Alright, super simple. And the same with this, that you did this, cut around the outside of the line, because this is the back of your ear, and you want that to be bigger than the inner ear fluff, which I'll show you in a minute. Okay, this part also cut underneath the line, not on it, underneath it, because that's your seam allowance. Alright, so now you have your back of your ear. Should look a little something like this. And when sewn together, it should look like this right here. I have this one flipped out inside out, so that way you can see it. Looks a little bit something like this. I still have to shave the fur down on the inside because, as you can see, it's quite fluffy. Although, if that's how you like it, whatever floats your boat. And same thing with the inner ear. I'll show you in a minute. You just take your pattern once again, your fox pattern, and as you see, I have it labeled on both sides. Don't take a marker to white fur. It is not cool. Take a pencil to your white fur, because marker destroys white fur. I know, because I have a white fursuit and marker doesn't like it. Bad experience. Alright. Make sure your lines are nice and dark, because if you have to lift your pattern up and then you notice you have spots where you didn't mark it, it's going to be hard to line it up back again. So make sure you make it dark the first time around. And where did I put my X-Acto? There it is. Handy dandy X-Acto. Except this time for the inner ear, do not cut on the outside of the line, cut actually on the line. That way, when you go to sew them together, you see how when I fold it over, the white is not coming all the way over, and the orange and black are actually curling over to the white. You wouldn't want the white all the way out here, because that would just look really silly and not very natural looking. You want it to look like a more natural ear. So make sure the fur on the back is cut larger like we did on this piece, so that way it curls over and not backwards. You wouldn't want a backwards looking ear unless that's what you're going for. So we're going to cut this out. Come on now. I cut very slow, but once again, better to be safe than sorry. I've made so many mistakes, it's not funny. So, comes with the practice. Alright. So now that we have our pieces cut out, then you make sure, you see how this is flipped up, and the side is flipped up as well? That is your matching side. You sew those two together. What you do is you actually start from the tips of the ear. You start from the tip and work your way down, and slightly bunch it up as you go down, because remember, this is a little bit bigger than this, and that's what's going to give you that nice pretty fold over. So once you have the one side sewn together, as you can see, one side's bigger than the other, you're actually going to start from, well, this is what I do anyway. I start from this end, once that side's sewn up, and go back up to the tip. That way you won't mess up and you won't have one length, like one side longer than the other. And that's pretty much it. Alright?